Okay, seeing this is the time and place advertised for the regular meeting of the Lewiston City Council, we'll call this meeting to order. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilor Forsman. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Pleasure.
Okay, our next order of business is the item 3, citizen comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the council on agenda items or other items they wish to bring to the attention of the council. Citizens are encouraged to discuss operational issues in advance with the mayor. In consideration of others wishing to speak, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Do we have any citizen comments this evening? Guy? Okay, well, seeing none, we'll move on to our fourth item, presentations. The first item is promotional pinning for the fire department. This is a recognition of fire department personnel for recent promotions and badge pinning ceremony. Fire Chief Reitmeyer. Chief, you're up. You're fine.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Greg Reitmeyer, the City of Lewiston Fire Chief. It's my honor and privilege tonight to recognize 3 of our members for promotions that they have worked for and earned. And tonight we're going to engage in a little bit of ceremony with you folks and recognize their achievement. So if I could please have Engineer Brian Burke, Engineer Jake Waits, and Firefighter Joe Evangelo. You would please bring your right arm to the square. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform the duties and responsibilities of the position of with courage, conviction, and compassion. In accordance with the policies, procedures, rules and regulations of the Lewiston Fire Department in and for the City of Lewiston, County of Nez Perce, and the State of Idaho, to the best of my knowledge, skill, and ability. So help me God. Wonderful. All right, so Brian this evening is going to be pinned by his wife, Megan. Cameras front and center. That's right. This is a new tradition that we're starting. My wife nudged me. Behind each of our members and a promotion to the next rank is literally hundreds of hours of reading textbooks, studying manuals, memorizing SOPs and countless hours of just manual skills and psychomotor tests and doing things over and over and over again. That doesn't all happen on duty. These members are far too busy doing their daily jobs. So it happens at home and it takes time away from their spouses and their children. And so just a little something to recognize spouses, a little flowers for you. So thank you, Megan. Engineer Waits is going to be pinned by his uncle, retired Chief Galen Waits.
Always told me they'd give me cash if I draw blood.
No mirror. Maggie. Jake. Thank you, Maggie. Our next promotion it's a unique thing to the Lewiston Fire Department. Firefighters start in the Lewiston Fire Department as a reserve firefighter, and they begin their careers, they train, and they work part-time on call for us. And it's a wonderful program that this city has endured since, or enjoyed. Endured's not good. Enjoyed. Enjoyed. It dates clear back to when the Orchards Fire Department was brought into the Lewiston Fire Department, and the volunteers were brought in as reserves. And it continues today, and it's a wonderful opportunity. It's something that's very unique to our community. And I think I'm going to say it's a leader. We're a leader in the Northwest in being able to train and develop young firefighters. Once in a while, during the course of a reserve, sometimes it's months and sometimes it's 8 or 10 years, somebody else moves on in our department and there's an opening and a vacancy, and we look to our reserve ranks to fill that vacancy. And that's what Joe is tonight. He's being promoted from a reserve firefighter to a full-time firefighter. And we told him that what he got for promotion is he gets a schedule, he gets a station, and the first day we mandatory overtimed him. So come on up, and Joe's going to be pinned by his lady friend, Emily. It's a lot of trust keeping your hands in your pockets. All right, other side. Got us? Get it? Okay. We were waiting for you. Emily, don't go. All right, thank you. Our newest group. Thank you. I'm going to have the three of you. We'll get one group picture because I keep forgetting to do that. All right. Thank you very much, folks. Whoop.
Thank you. Congratulations. At first I thought Chief Fairmeyer was having out flowers to the firemen. I was like, oh, okay, that's unique. They might like flowers. That's right.
Okay, we'll move on to our proclamations. First order of business is the Arbor Day proclamation. I've actually been privileged to read this several times back when I was mayor and before that when I was on the Urban Forestry and Cemetery Commission. So it's an important day. So we'll start off a proclamation of the city of Lewiston, Idaho. Whereas in 1872, I'm sorry, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and world, and trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, the Lewiston City Council does proclaim April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the city of Lewiston, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Further, we encourage all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Do we have somebody from Urban Forestry here? No, Shirley's not here.
For Damien.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure that this gets the proper spot to be hung on the wall. We've actually had this proclamation going for many, many years. I think we ought to be proud of ourselves. We're Tree City, USA. The next up is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. This is proclaiming the week of April 13th through 19th, 2025 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the city of Lewiston. Whereas on April 12th, 1994, President William Clinton signed Proclamation 6667, delegated the second week of April as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. April 2025 marks the 31st anniversary, and the professional public safety telecommunicators in the city of Lewiston play a crucial role in the protection of life, property, and delivery of public services. And public safety telecommunicators serve as a vital link between the public and emergency services, ensuring the swift and effective dispatch of police, fire, and emergency medical services. And each day, citizens call for help in emergency situations. And the telecommunicators who answer these calls, often referred to as the voice of calm in the storm, gather essential information and dispatch the appropriate assistance, often making the difference between life and death for persons in need. And public safety telecommunicators answer thousands of emergency calls annually, providing life-saving assistance, crucial information, and reassurances to those in distress, serving the citizens of the city of Lewiston 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And these telecommunicators spend substantial time away from their families, yet remain committed to excellence, strengthening the resilience of our city, and fostering a sense of security for all residents. And the mayor and city council wishes to publicly recognize the telecommunicators who serve the citizens of the city of Lewiston in such a professional manner. Now, therefore, the city council of Lewiston proclaimed the week of April 13th through 19th, 2025 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the city of Lewiston, Idaho, and call upon citizens to recognize and express gratitude for the extraordinary contributions of our public safety telecommunicators to the safety, security, and well-being of our community. And I believe we have Victoria and Maddie here. Okay. Well, your work. Oh, pictures, okay.
Quick, get out.
Been a great day to have a sore throat. Okay, we'll move on to item V, public hearings and related action items. First up is a public hearing. This is the proposed easement vacation, VA 02-2024, of a public utility easement along Stewart Avenue, accepting testimony on a petition filed by the Independent School District Number 1, requesting that the city vacate a 60-foot wide public utility easement along the vacated right-of-way of Stewart Avenue, east of Cecil Andrews Way, and extending to the easterly boundary of the vacated portion of Lewiston Orchards Tract number 19. This is an action item, and we have our city surveyor, Mr. Wygan.
Council members, my name is Mark Wiggins. The applicant, the Independent School District, filed a petition requesting the easement's existence is the result started in October of 1912. On October 8th of that year, the plat was filed for the Lewiston Orchards Tract number 19. Right-of-ways and lots in that the area now occupied by the new Lewiston High School, SC Career and Technical Education Center, site of the Lewiston Community Park. Plat was essentially an extension of the lot and road pattern we see in the rest of the orchards. But in June 1934, the owner of the lots within the area elected to file a declaration of partial plat. That action effectively erased the property lines between the individual lots, but the road right-of-ways, being public property at that point, were not affected by that action of the private landowner. So, private landowner could not up in that standard road. Lots then basically. Finally, in 2004, there was a request that the public streets within that area be vacated back. Process, it was determined that it was in the best interest of the public to retain a public utility easement along the right-of-way of Stewart Avenue. So I was not able to determine the the right-of-way was retained, I believe the right-of-way was retained in relation to the electrical substation located on the east side of the intersection of Stewart. Currently then, utilizes the public utility easement along Bay. As basically by the public, by the entire distance between 10th Street and Seaside. From that point, the transmission lines utilize the public right-of-way for Cecil Andrus Way. Public streets for utility. Public utility easement. Have no real remaining value to the public. And conversely, it now serves as an impediment to the development of the school district. Would provide services that benefit. So, as required for the filing of an easement vacation, applicant obtained signed not opposed to the requested vacation. Copies of those consent letters are included in your information packet. Department has reviewed the applicant's request and of their opinion that the requested easement vacation Public Works Department office has not received any questions or comments regarding the proposal. Public hearing, the city council.
Any questions? Tell me.
Impact, any electricity, water, sewer, anything like that?
Currently,
Area?
currently, like I said, there is a transmission line that comes here. But right now, there. Properties, then the
Okay. So do we have anybody from the applicant side? Have anything to add? Anybody from the public? Well, I guess there's no reason for rebuttal. At this point, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Thanks, Mark. So now I'll move to Resolution 2025-15, which is considering vacating a utility easement in VA-02-2024. And this is an action item. Counselor Schroeder.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-15. Second.
We have a motion and a second by Counselor Foreman. Further discussion?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Wright, Councilor Forsman,
Aye.
Councilor Schroeder,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine by the council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these issues unless a councilor so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered on the active agenda under items removed from the consent agenda. Do we have any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Council President, I would like to remove voucher payable from the consent agenda.
Which one?
Vouchers payable?
Okay, we'll take item C and move it to item 8. Any others? Okay. So do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
A motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Roll call vote.
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Counselor Wright, Counselor Forsman,
Aye.
Counselor Schroeder,
Aye.
Counselor Klein,
Aye.
Counselor Spiegelmeier.
Aye. Okay, now, let's move on to the active agenda. North Lewiston Business Park Subdivision Public Improvement Agreement. Considering approving the public improvement agreement between the City of Lewiston and MJM Developers LLC, establishing conditions to allow MJM Developers LLC to file a final plat before the construction of public improvements. This is an action item, and we have Public Works Director Johnson here.
Good evening, City Council. Dustin Johnson, Public Works Director. In front of you is a procedural contract, if you will, where a developer wants to develop a property. It's the way it's formed up there in North Lewiston, has some, they don't want to develop it all at the same time. So their ability to actually get occupancy on the current development they do is they're bonding the improvements for the section they aren't developing. And so they've put forth a bond, financial guarantee that they will complete it by January 30th, 2027, or the city has the authority to go do those improvements for them with that bond. So it's a tool that the city has to be able to work with developers to get them into their development, yet at the same time not deferring on necessary improvements.
Okay. Counselor Schroeder.
I move to approve the public improvement agreement between the City of Lewiston and MJM Developers LLC and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Seeing none. Clerk Brodke.
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Counselor Wright, Counselor Forsman,
Aye.
Counselor Schroeder,
Aye.
Counselor Klein,
Aye.
Counselor Spiegelmeier.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Next is Resolution 2025-16. This is considering approving the fourth addendum to intergovernmental cooperative agreement between the City of Lewiston, Loudoun County, Washington, the City of Clarkston, Washington, and Nez Perce County, Idaho, related to the rehabilitation of Pier 3 of the Southway Bridge and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. This is an action item, and I see Public Works Director Johnson is still at the podium.
Good evening, Public Works Director Dustin Johnson. This is, as you may or may not be aware, or the public isn't aware, the Southway Bridge is the only bridge in the valley that is not owned by a state agency. It's actually owned by the four entities: Nez Perce County, Loudoun County, City of Lewiston, and City of Clarkston. So all costs and all responsibility for maintenance are split four ways. There's an agreement that was signed back in '82, interlocal cooperative agreement that outlines all the responsibilities for maintenance. What we have before us tonight is during one of the inspections, so Idaho Department of Transportation does the routine maintenance or routine inspection. And every 5 years, they have to do an underwater inspection, and under Pier 3, they found some damage. It's a long story, but basically it wasn't some of the sheet piling that's used to protect the pier got stripped off probably on some big flood event. It's not a safety issue at this point, that it's just a protection that they put on there. So it was identified about 5 years ago as needing to be addressed. It was not listed as a high priority, but more of a maintenance issue. So working with the other 3 agencies, we're coming to you with this interlocal agreement. The other 3 have already signed it. So we have gone out and did an RFQ for a engineering firm to do an analysis of, how significant the damage is, if there is any need for an emergency beyond what was already been identified in the underwater inspections, but also lay out a path forward for the repairs. That contract is $150,000, split 4 ways. That contract is, we're putting the crossing the T's, dotting the I's on that. That will be for you here in the next couple of weeks, and then we can get to going on that. ITD is scheduled to do their next underwater inspection this year, so the timing of this kind of dovetails right into when they would be inspections. This contract doesn't obligate the city or any other entity for anything beyond just preliminary investigation as to what the recommendation would be to address those damages to Pier 3. And then at that point, we'll come back to you for probably a larger contract for the full design, administration, and then award of the repairs, whatever they may need. Here for questions.
Any questions? Any motions? Counselor Schroeder.
I move to approve Resolution 2025-16.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2025-16.
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Counselor Wright, Counselor Forsman,
Aye.
Counselor Schroeder,
Aye.
Counselor Klein,
Aye.
Counselor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have an RFQ-25-015, 2025 wastewater construction observation. Considering awarding the 2025 wastewater construction observation project to JUB Engineers, Inc. in the total amount of $105,000 and authorizing the mayor to sign the professional services agreement between the city of Lewiston and JUB Engineers, Inc. This is an action item. Yes.
Dustin
Director
Johnson, Public Works
Johnson.
Director. Right now, the sound you hear outside is the ramping up of construction season coming into Lewiston this summer. And generally, you'll notice, I think the sidewalks in front of Jennifer should be, we think we're paving this week. So that project will be wrapping up. We have another project, sidewalk project coming on up by the school offices, up by the high school. Lots of projects. And so typically what Public Works tries to do is hold back the inspection service contracts so we know where if we have in-house labor to do the inspections, and if we don't, we hire it out. And that's exactly what's happening in this situation where we have a lot of projects going all at once. This project in front of you tonight is to inspect the pipe bursting project. So if you drive down Snake River Avenue right now, you'll see the black pipe sitting there by the boat launch. And if you drive up by the cemetery, you'll see black pipe up there. That's what this project is. So a large, it's very large, couple $1 million of pipeline rehab. And so the importance of having it inspected is obviously you want to make sure somebody's standing there certifying that the work is done properly. And as I said, our first preference is to do with in-house labor, but we're tied up on other projects. And so the way we've written it is if we can do it, we'll do it. If not, this is the full contract. What we write before you is the expectation that they would do the whole contract, but we may be able to pinch hit at times. And so we can't give you a shot in the dark because then we come back with a change order. So we may or may not spend the whole 105. The hope is not, but if we get tied up in other projects, that's the full extent of what the contract would be for inspection.
Okay. Any questions? Counselor Spickmeyer.
Thank you. So Director, either on here, the summary sheet, the budget impact's confusing to me. States the contract will be funded with the current year FY '25 capital budget and no budget amendment will be required. But $105,000 is a lot of money, so is something not going to get done? Or purchased?
This one, it's all coming out of wastewater capital. So I don't know what was budgeted and what we have on that project. That this is the one that we change ordered. So we did a deduct change order out of that. And so there's more than enough money in the capital budget. Once we get to the end of it, we may have to do an amendment, but I'm not sure on the details as far as where that was. I mean, I don't have a clean answer for that, other than I was told that we were within the budget, so.
So I guess my concern is typically when we see the budgets, the line items are in there of what we're going to accomplish.
Yeah.
And even if we changed it, it would seem to me that that would require an amendment because we used the money for something different. But I was going to ask Director Gordon, but she's not here.
Yeah, I can follow up, because what I like to do on these, and it's not on this one, mostly because we wait to the last minute because we don't know if we're going to be able to do the inspection. But what I like to do with this is to show you base bid of what the contractor, what we spent on design, what we spent on, what the construction was, and then what we're going to spend on inspection. And that didn't make it into this memo. So I can get you that information
Okay,
if you'd like.
thank you.
Further questions? Yes, Counselor Klein.
So I was just wondering, I know we're hiring out a lot of like engineering services. Is this one of the instances where having that extra engineering staff on hand, like building stuff, would help alleviate some of this?
And that is a great question, and it is trying to bullseye on that, because you obviously don't want to have inspectors that are sitting around in the winter. Not that we have a pretty lean, mean ship, but if you hired, say, 4 more inspectors, what are they doing in the winter? Is it worth to pay wages and benefits and everything? But if you do a contract, you're paying, a contractor, you're paying the markup on that. And so we try and, thread that needle of where it is. And so I will say, I think we run a really lean ship, and we could probably use more inspectors as a whole. The other part is it's hard to find them right now. We have a designer position that's open in our office that we haven't had any luck filling yet. So it's trying to build up our own shop internally, but knowing the private sector is going to come and get them. So it's a two thing of trying to balance the workload and then trying to just find people that will come and do the work, qualified. But I appreciate the question, because that's what we constantly do on these budgets, trying to figure out how to balance it out.
Counselor Schroeder.
I move to award the 2025 the 2025 wastewater construction observation project to JUB Engineers, Inc. in the amount of $105,000 and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Wright, Councilor Forsman,
Aye.
Councilor Schroeder,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Okay, resolution 2025-08. This is considering approving a donation agreement between the city of Coeur d'Alene and the city of Lewiston, accepting a donation of 5 traffic signal cabinets and related components from the city of Coeur d'Alene and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. This is an action item. And we have our city attorney.
Council President Kleberg, Jennifer Tangano, City Attorney. I'm here just to reiterate what you stated. The City of Coeur d'Alene has offered essentially to donate 5 traffic signal cabinets and their components. There's certain hardware that's not included, like the brains and things. But for the most part, they're mostly intact signal cabinets that the city is able to then reuse. So they're doing so at no charge. The city gets the opportunity to up and inspect the cabinets before officially receiving them. So even though the agreement is for 5 cabinets, if for some reason one of those was not fully functional to the professional opinion, then they could use it. They are accepting it as is, whereas with all faults and defects to it, considering they're not fully functional at this time. But otherwise, they will save the city from having to purchase these cabinets themselves. Have to purchase some of the internal components to make them fully functional.
I've got a question.
Yes, certainly.
Do we know why they upgraded their cabinets?
My understanding, the information that I received is that Coeur d'Alene had received a grant of some sort to replace a number of their own. And so these were surplus items that under Idaho code, political subdivisions are able to donate to one another as long as there's a written agreement.
Yes, Counselor?
Motion to approve Resolution 2025-08.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2025-08.
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Counselor Wright, Counselor Forsman,
Aye.
Counselor Schroeder,
Aye.
Counselor Klein,
Aye.
Counselor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Okay,
Can I make a comment?
yes. certainly.
I just want to commend, I don't know who started this conversation with Coeur d'Alene. Was it the mayor?
Actually, I believe it was Public Works street staff. I think it was Jason Thompson.
Okay, I want to give kudos to Jason Thompson. It's really creative. I know we're kind of in a pinch right now with cost and especially how expensive those are. And I think we had one hit just not even too long ago again. So it's just really good work to be creative and working on ways to keep our city going and our lights on. So that was very creative. So please tell him that.
Okay. And Resolution 2025-19 This is considering approving a donation agreement between the City of Lewiston and the Genesee Joint School District 282, providing for the donation of the ballpark lights and related components from Hathaway Field, and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. It's an action item, and once again, City Attorney Tangano.
Again, Council President Kleberg, Jennifer Tangano, City Attorney. This one is the other way around. This would be a donation from the City of Lewiston to the Genesee Joint School District, providing for the donation of the ballpark lights at Hathaway Field. This is the field that the city used to rent that is on airport property that it no longer leases. The lights have remained pretty much unused since that time. The Genesee School District would like to use those lights and install them on their own property. They're able to do so again through Idaho code, through this donation agreement. As a part of the agreement, again, they're accepting it as is, whereas with all faults included. But the Genesee School District will come down to the city, work with the city electrician and essentially uninstall the lights at the ball fields. And then they will be responsible for filling the holes that are left behind and any damage to the ball field that may occur. And then the city will be responsible for capping off the electrical cabinet that's there.
Okay. Further questions? Counselor Klein?
No questions. I move to approve resolution 2025-19.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2025-19. Further discussion? Counselor Forsman?
Just another comment. it's like back to back, but they're giving us something and we're giving someone else something. So again, very cool of our cities, the surrounding areas to be supportive of each other and helping each other in times of need, and I hope it continues.
Thank you.
Record, these light poles are not very valuable. They are valued less than $10,000 under Idaho code. But we even had city staff do a search and see if they could find other public surplus sites. And when they were doing that search, there was one search where they found, I think it was like lots of them, and it was roughly $500 for them. So they're so big and cumbersome, the cost that goes into installing. They're alone, they're just not very valuable. Something that would otherwise.
Awesome, thank you.
Council President Kleber,
Aye.
Counselor Wright, Counselor Forsman.
Aye.
Counselor Schroeder,
Aye.
Counselor Klein,
Aye.
Counselor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to item 8, items removed from the consent agenda. And that was item C, vouchers payable.
Yep. I already
Counselor
gave
Forsman.
Counselor, oh my gosh, sorry, Chief Reitmeyer, I gave him a heads up, so, he's gonna go over, find it so that they're on track.
What
The
page you at?
ERT MGT, right? Chief Reitmeyer?
No, that was the hazmat meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry, blue card T, that one, okay, so it's on, page 14 of 18 of vouchers payable, line item 2354. There's a couple there, so it's 2355, 2354, 2353,
What page?
14. The, 320. Yeah, page 60 of the package, thank you.
Oh, here we go.
Ready? Good? He was gonna describe what it is and what purpose behind it.
Thank you, Council. Greg Reitmeyer, Fire Chief. Apologize a little bit for some of the shorthand in there is industry specific, and then it doesn't make it easy to figure out exactly what that's for. One of those things is that when we see TTT, it stands for Train the Trainer. And so the Blue Card program is recognized now as a national certification for incident commanders for smaller type incidents. We call them type 4 and 5 incidents, and those are incidents that last less than 12 hours. So a typical structure fire, large motor vehicle accident. It's really what our incident commanders, our company officers, and our chief officers do as part of their job. This program is a 40-hour online education and then a 24-hour in-person certification lab where they get trained. They go through virtual training modules, and they're taught a specific way and a specific method to balance risk management with decision-making based on critical factors of that incident. Found this program a few years back and have been slowly upgrading. It was part of our strategic plan to upgrade our incident management abilities within the community. And so last year, we were able to send our 3 battalion chiefs to this certification along with our ops chief and our training chief. And through the Valley, we ended up with 10 people certified between Lewiston and Clarkston. And then this past January or February, we sent 2 of our members, the training chief and the ops chief, down to the Train the Trainer, which enabled them to be able to come back and continue this training. Typically, the training is about $2,000 to $5,000 per person for the in-person lab. And by having them trained now, we can just do it in-house and it doesn't cost us anything other than the staff time to do that. And so since then, we have 9 captains from Lewiston Fire Department and then 4 other officers here in the Valley that next Monday through Wednesday, they'll be doing their 3-day certification class here in the Valley taught by Chiefs Weisenfels and Chief Lucas. It's a real benefit to our community, and we'll be able to continue this ongoing training now. And part of that certification system, now that they're credentialed and certified, they will keep that up through continuing education, 36 hours a year. They'll spend getting that continuing education and staying at the top of their game for that. It really reduces the risk to our members and increases their safety, and it reduces the risk to the city of having a bad incident. Over the past 10 years now, there hasn't been a single firefighter fatality, a tactical fatality, that the investigating board has not recommended that agency go to this incident management system. That's one of the reasons that we chose to upgrade our command to follow that. So appreciate the opportunity to explain it.
Yeah, I did actually have a question. Was there only the city staff that, or city of Lewiston Fire Department that has gotten the training, or did like a Clarkson and its own also get trainers that are now trained to give the?
Yeah, it's a great question. Through the Valley, we have a Valley Chiefs Association. That's the Asotin County and Nez Perce County Fire Chiefs. And we meet together and we work together on standardized operations. This was one of those opportunities we had to really start to meld our operational front together. And so we've been working with them and doing the joint training together, and they absorbed some of the cost of that when we did our initial certifications. And so now we're working that, and it's really kind of springboarding to an operations group to start looking at other things that we can make sure we're standardized across the valley, so that when we're helping each other, which we need to do because of our isolated nature, we're all doing it the same way. So I liken it to an orchestra. Everybody can play an instrument, but when you get together, you have the same sheet music and the conductor knows what everybody's supposed to be doing. Then you really get good music out of a group of instruments.
Awesome, thank you so much. And this is a really creative way to save cost and keep our city safe and make sure we have adequate training.
We appreciate that, and you're invited if any of you are available next week, Monday through Wednesday. We'll be up at the Asotin County Fire Station. They've got a really good training facility there, and we'll be doing the training, and it's a lot of fun to watch the simulation. We're on iPads and looking at a fire situation, and there's 12 people that are moving around and talking on radios and essentially fighting a virtual fire. And it's interesting to watch, and you kind of get a feel for what's going on. So if any of you are interested, please just reach out to me. I'll make sure we don't have a quorum issue that if we need to, and happy to have you up there, and we'll walk you through it.
What times though, Monday through
It'll
Friday?
be from 8 till 5, Monday through Wednesday.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. I need a motion to approve. Vouchers payable? Oh, okay.
I move to approve vouchers payable.
Second.
You have a motion and a second to approve the vouchers payable. Further discussion? Voice or roll call? Okay.
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Wright.
Aye.
Councilor Forsman.
Aye.
Councilor Schroeder,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Move on to unfinished and new business, city council comments. Comments will not be related to an item currently before the city council or an item that may come before the city council in the foreseeable future and shall be limited to comments, not discussion.
Okay, Counselor. I did want to honor the telecommunications and 911 dispatch and their hard work. I got to take the police citizens training, and you really get a deep dive into what their world is like, and multitasking, emotional, and how they have to stay calm while the person on the phone on the other line might not be calm. And so I appreciate them, and if we didn't have them, we wouldn't be able to get emergency services, and our police officers wouldn't know where to go in a timely manner. And so I know our police officers heavily rely on, and our fire department heavily relies on our dispatch to be direct and communicative and make sure they have the correct information, as well as another honor. On behalf of the Lewiston, Idaho Police Department wanted to opportunity to thank our animal control officer, Doug Willie, is being recognized for his hard work and dedication, and sometimes also has to deal with emotional situations with owners, animal owners, and having to be tactful as well as keeping the community safe. So I wanted to extend that. I saw Jason's message, and I want to make sure it's Jason Cusick's message, and I want to make sure that it got highlighted. So, and that is all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else? Well, I don't see a spot for mayor comments, but
You can speak on behalf
I'm going to speak on behalf of the mayor. There is the Alice Whitman chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution is encouraging area residents to join in this commemoration. It's called Two Lights for Tomorrow. It's planned for Friday and Saturday this week to commemorate the famous ride of Paul Revere during the Revolutionary War on April 18th and 19th in 1775. The national event asks all Americans to put 2 lights in their windows on Friday evening, April 18th. And again, the Daughters of the American Revolution is encouraging area residents to join in the commemoration. So, Ken, we can light up the town a little bit. Tomorrow is going to be kind of a busy day. At 3 o'clock, out by the high schools, there's going to be a dedication for I think it's a monument for the Nichols family. In case you didn't know, the Nichols family, great-granddaughter Coco is still living out there at Clearwater Canyon Cellars. Ralph Nichols owned all that property where the new high school sits, where the Schweitzer Career Technical Education Facility is, and where the new potential city park is. And they negotiated a deal because Ralph, by God, wanted that land to stay available to the public in perpetuity. And he was a really nice guy. He farmed that ground. I don't know how long that farm's been in the family. Long time. I'm sure it's a century farm. But they are going to have a little celebration out there again, 3 o'clock on Cecil Andrews Way by the new high school. And then tomorrow night, we do have an important meeting for all the citizens. And I hope anybody that can takes the time to participate up at the Orchards Community Church on Bryden, 700 block of Bryden, I believe. We will have an open house again from 5:30 to 7:30 for the downtown infrastructure project. So we'll have city staff there. We're going to have posters there. Lots of informative information so that people can maybe help make up their minds on what I think could be a generational project for this city, which is replacing our aging infrastructure downtown. So again, that's tomorrow night at between 5:30 and 7:30 at the Orchards Community Church. Going to be cookies. Yeah, we'll probably have cookies there.
You better have cookies now. He said it.
And that's all I have. Anybody else? Well, we'll move on to, what was the last one? City, there it is. City boards and commission liaison updates.
Not till this week. I have one tomorrow and the one the next day, so I don't have any updates yet.
Okay. Okay,
Advisory Commission.
okay. Now it happens. We've got a couple here. We got the MPO. We had a meeting last Thursday. Couple projects got approved, transportation improvement program. There was actually some extra funding to put into City of Clarkston. 13th Street intersection improvements and bring their total up to $960,000 for that project. Other than that, some paying of bills. And then the potential biggie, which is going to be coming in front of the city council. We had the Urban Renewal Agency meeting on Tuesday and are making a recommendation to the city council for the East Orchard sewer bid. That's potentially coming up to add more sanitary sewer out in the East Orchards, 21st to 22nd area. So pay attention to that. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Agenda topics? Okay. Item 10, adjournment.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn, second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you very much, everybody.